Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Pregame Cheat Sheet. I'm Darren Smith, along with Mr. Steve Walls. And first of all, we want to thank you for joining us this season. This is the regular season home finale of the Pregame Cheat
You
Sheet.
put emphasis on that, didn't you?
Well, I had to because when I posted earlier, I didn't want people to think we wasn't doing the last two games. But this will be our last one for the home games until the AFC divisional round, which we're speaking that into existence. But right now, Steve, the Kansas City Chiefs will be hosting the best in the AFC South and the Houston Texans. This will be their second game in 7 days, their third, which of course will take place on Christmas against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But your initial thoughts on today's matchup as the Chiefs host the Houston Texans today?
Well, first of all, I think that the whoever does the food in the
Oh,
the fresh spot, we're gonna start there.
oh wow,
They
okay.
came with some pretty good cinnamon rolls this morning, so I will say we appreciate that.
I was not expecting that comment.
Yeah, you notice I said cinnamon rolls, nothing else. All right, so moving on. But today's game. So I think people are kind of, filing into the stadium. It seems kind of weird just because it is on a Saturday, right? Like normally we've had a lot of these night games or even, later afternoon games, and you get this noon game on a Saturday, but it's in Kansas City, so you can't have a better atmosphere than that.
Yeah, I remember asking you before we came on the air. I was like, man, does it feel kind of weird? Kind of, because it's like last night, knowing that we had a game today, one like I was just getting stuff ready, packing stuff up, just making sure, boom, shower, get dressed, get after it. It was just like, I'll wait till the morning.
Yeah.
And then it was like I woke up at 6 and really, it's like, okay, gates over the receptor. Do I really want to get here that early or just, let? And it's just one of those things where, okay, we got the game, knowing that, how things turn out. You got a game 4 days from now. And so just interested to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I know normally on our social media platform today at 11 or Saturdays at 11, you're expecting to see the W show where you got myself in there. So
Yeah.
so you're not seeing the W show. It's not a Sunday. It's not, anything like that. It's just
We're
got
going
a
to
game today.
merge that into
Yeah,
today's show.
of course.
So looking at this, of course, big news, of course, this week was coming out of the Chiefs win last week against the Cleveland Browns, 21-7, was the high ankle sprain that Patrick Mahomes has suffered last week. I know you and I were both there. We saw Patrick being carted off on one of the golf carts post game. Andy, of course, said, mentioned what it was, but when we talked to Patrick this week, he mentioned that essentially the high ankle sprain that he suffered against Jacksonville in the AFC division game was much worse than what he suffered Sunday in Cleveland, and as such, Andy, he was a full participant every day this week in practice, where he's starting today, along with the big news, Chiefs wide receiver Hollywood Brown making his regular season debut for the Chiefs. Of course, he was injured on the first play in preseason against Jacksonville, so in that totality, Patrick healthy, coming to play in today's game. Hollywood Brown coming in today's game. Big picture-wise, how important is it for this team?
It's huge, man, because we talked about just the offense in general, right? Like them having trouble being in the red zone with the stalls. And sometimes I think they have a lot of success getting all the way to the red zone, and then it's like, all right, what do we do, right? Like they try to do some weird things, but I think with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, it helped a lot with that. They haven't had that many, but I feel like now it's going to put a lot of pressure on defenses. It's going to put a lot of pressure on, okay, well, we know Travis hasn't been Travis this season that we've seen in the past, but now not only do we have to think about Travis, we also have DeAndre Hopkins. We also have Xavier Worthy, who's coming into his own. We also have to, see Hollywood Brown can do. So you got two guys. You got two guys that can stretch the field. You got DeAndre Hopkins who can, do the intermediate stuff.
Along with
Juju Smith-Schuster, and then you have Travis Kelce who can do everything. So
and now we can't even leave out Noah Gray.
And you got Noah Gray, and you still got Justin Watson who's a speedster. And we can't leave out the running game, because you still got Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in that 1-2 punch. So when you look at this offense on paper, they look to be unstoppable.
It's funny, because literally we talked about this most of the season, and the injuries that the team suffered, and knowing that they would come back with the exception of Rashee Rice. But you talked about how this will put pressure on the defense. I say it puts more pressure on Matt Nagy and Andy Reid with the play calling because you now really have no excuse. I mean, look, Rice isn't coming back, so we know that. But now that you got essentially all these weapons, and I tell people all the time, people talking about Deontay Johnson, who got released by the Ravens last week, and it's been reported that he'll go through waivers and perhaps the Chiefs or the Chargers might pick him up. Now, K comes before L, so all right, Chiefs, and he's been wanting to play for the Chiefs for some time. But one of the things that we talked about was that if X doesn't happen, Y doesn't become what it is. Being that if
I like that.
thank you. If you can use it too. So so if no, but seriously, if Hollywood doesn't go down, we don't get Juju.
Yeah.
We might have got him anyway just because. But how it played out, we got Juju. If Rashee Rice doesn't go down, we don't get
Hollywood Brown.
no, not Hollywood. DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins, yeah.
If Pacheco doesn't go down, we don't bring in Kareem Hunt. Now you got them in, and you're getting those players back. So by analysis, the offense should be much better than than what the season was predicted to be starting out as.
You've got certified backups. Like, you can interchange them however you want across the board,
so crazy.
And they're all starters. Like, any of these guys on this Chiefs first 11, right? Offensive side, they could be starters or on anybody's team.
Correct.
Any backup that you think about on this team can be a starter on any of the NFL teams. So I think that's a great problem to have. But now, what do you do? What is in Andy Reid's bag that I know he's like Geppetto, right? And he likes to tinker and do different things. So now you got to really get in your bag because you've got a plethora of options that you can do. If 1A don't work, then you got 1B. If 1B don't work, then you got 2A, 2B, 3C, 3B, whatever, however you want to look at it. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I feel like with the Texans noise that they've said this past week, and they probably put some bulletin board material out there, and we're going to be able to see.
Yeah, we were talking about it too. Chiefs have so many wide receivers, they don't even have Hollywood Brown on the depth chart.
Yeah, and it's crazy because
just when they knew he was coming back.
Just sitting here talking about it, I'm like, dang, they really have all these options.
Yeah, but again, it's not a surprise to us because we've been talking about it most of the season, and he had been trending after and the Chiefs have done everything that they said they would do. Like once they put somebody on their 21-day stuff for the practice squad, the following week they bring the only person they really haven't done that is Steven Nelson. So he'll probably be up next week.
But you know what the interesting thing? Sometimes, well, a lot of times you get teams across any sport that you'll have, or let's just look at football. You have a lot of these offenses that you have guys that aren't household names. Name one guy in this wide receiver core, tight end, whatever, that isn't a household name other than Noah Gray and I would say Justin Watson and Nico Remigio. Other than that, all these other guys have become who kids, when I say household name, I mean like who kids want to be, or you can throw out a name to your grandma and she know who it is.
And one other point that needs to be made: McCole Hardman is coming back to start the start the postseason. He will be coming back. So again, that's another body that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And before we go further, I do want to say shout out to our guy Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Gave the Chiefs 4 good years, and on top of that, got picked up by the New Orleans Saints.
Hometown.
Yeah, wish him all the very best. So we love him. We'll of course see him hopefully down during the Super Bowl when we're down on Radio Row and stuff like that. But looking at today's game, of course, the importance of it. Kansas City entered today's game with a 13-1 record, 8-5 for the 9-5 for the Houston Texans, and the importance of this matchup, of course, is for Kansas City. If they win today's game and can win one of the last 2 games, preferably for them would be Christmas, they'll lock up the number 1 seed, have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and if they so choose to, be able to rest Patrick and some of their starters in the regular season finale against the Denver Broncos in Denver, which if the Chiefs handle business, they can literally, for someone like Patrick Mahomes, if you decide to rest him from December 25th to perhaps January 18th or 19th.
It's crazy, man. I know all eyes will be on the Buffalo Bills versus New England Patriots game tomorrow.
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
mean, because that's really who you're not really worried about anybody else. You can't be caught by anybody else to jump you for the number one seed.
Well,
Well, unless you just go 0 and
technically,
3 these
if you
last
go 0
weeks.
and 3
Yeah,
and
Pittsburgh.
Buffalo, then Pittsburgh could do it. But
Yeah,
yeah, but like you, I don't see it happen. I think Chiefs do take care of business today, and then that's the that's been one of the advantages of with the Chiefs with these different days on which they
hmm
play. You get a chance to sit back and watch what everybody else does, and that's I don't know if that's really been. Well, I guess it's been an advantage because when you get to sit back, you get to because I do talk. We have talked to some of the players about what you get to do on the day when you're playing early, and then you get out, you get a chance to watch all these other teams play, whether it's a Monday night, a Thursday, or now Black Friday, or
yeah.
or today, where you get to turn around tomorrow, and watch the slate of games, and kind of see how things fall into place.
But I'm not sure if they'll have them tomorrow off. I'm sure they're going to be here practicing. At least doing walkthrough
Well,
because you got Wednesday and you got a
yes.
travel day on Tuesday. So
Technically, they have to have a day off for the CBA. So, I mean, it would be tomorrow. It should be tomorrow because you can't. I mean, you can't because you got to heal and recover and stuff like that. So
yeah,
technically, it would be tomorrow. But you know, I mean, rest, recover, recuperate. Tuesday, because I know we've got the Zoom tomorrow with the coordinators, and then Tuesday we'll go into the no Monday we'll yeah gosh
hmm
Monday we'll go into the locker
told you, and
rooms, and then
Tuesday travel day.
Tuesday's travel day. Yep. So essentially tomorrow will be their day off. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And you think about just all these guys, and it's not only the Chiefs though, because a lot of people get it confused that it's just the Chiefs. No, it's a few other
It's the
teams.
Texans,
Yeah,
it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Baltimore Ravens.
yeah.
We just have to worry about the team that we cover. Now, that being said, initial thoughts on this matchup because you got C.J. Stroud, who was a NFL Rookie of the Year.
hmm
You also have Will Anderson, who was a Defensive Rookie of the Year last year, both on the same team, first and third overall picks for the Houston Texans. CJ hasn't played as well as he did last season,
hmm
and I mean he's struggled. I mean we know just via via our slips or whatever throughout the season that he has not had the passing attack that he had. Obviously, with Stephon Diggs going down,
hmm
Nico Collins and Tank Dell, just players being off injured, and everybody's suffered from that this season. How do you see Houston coming in today's game facing the Chiefs?
You mentioned that and talk about C.J. Stroud and the fact that he's not the same, or I can't say he's not the same player. He just haven't had statistically he's
Yeah,
not the same
exactly.
as he was last year. Um, and I thought about that a little bit this week, and I'm like, man, that goes to show you, what people say about great teams. They're able to do it year after year after year, even in a down year. They're able to, make something happen and
It's
still
tough.
win games. I look at this Chiefs team and I'm like, sometimes you're like, man, maybe statistically their Patrick's not having the same season as he had the year before, but he's still making sure that he's getting a dub.
I mean, I think he's already had 4,000, or he's closing in on 4,000 passing yards this season.
Yeah, which is, I mean, think about the interceptions that he's had early on in the season. Just think about the
And
even
he's been
looking at
15-3, I think, the last few games.
and looking at last year. I mean, with the wide receiver drops, he still managed to go on and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So the year before that, he was able to go and win a Super Bowl. So you look at just the back-to-back years that this Chiefs team has had, and then you get guys we talked about early on in the show, guys that are hurt. Brett Beach is already on the horn. Let's look and see who else we could get. Now I know, C.J. Stroud doesn't have that status, and the Houston Texans doesn't have that status that the Chiefs have to be able to make a call. I'm like, hey, if Pat want me, I'm going because I know I got a chance. CJ's getting there. They have to win, of course, but it just goes to show you how Andy Reid would say there's so much parity in the league, and it's with the ups and downs. Just having that constant is so tough.
What's interesting about this game is the last time these two teams played, Steve, we were in Houston for the game. Chiefs won
H-Town, baby.
30-24. But what's crazy was that game. It's funny how it took place. So it was like December 18th, and thinking that the Chiefs were just going to kind of walk through whatever. And that game ended up being a battle.
Was it December 18th?
It was December 18th, and the game went in overtime. Chiefs won 30-24 in overtime.
In December?
In December 2022. That's, again, it's, dude, see, we covered some of the games it's supposed to be. but that was just an interest, and I can't remember who the quarterback was in that game. It wasn't Watson because he was already gone by that time. But the Chiefs struggled. I mean, and that was one of those games where the Chiefs were struggling that season, and for that game to go into overtime and the Chiefs pull it out, it was one of those games where we could not believe how hard it was. And the last time these two teams played, Chiefs fans
Davis Mills.
Wow. And Chiefs fans remember this very vividly because the Chiefs were down, I believe, 24-0, came back, scored 50, outscored them 51-7 to move on to the AFC Championship game.
You know who the guys were on that team?
Who was on the team?
On Houston's team?
At that time?
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson and...
I'm talking about guys that are on this current Chiefs team.
Oh, well, no.
Yeah, D-Hop. You had Justin Reed. Both those guys were on the Texans.
They were. I'm going to have to bring that up to them, too, after the game. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. No, yeah. Well, no, we've talked to him about it. We didn't talk to DeAndre about that, but looking at this matchup, though, defensively, what does Kansas City have to worry about? Because obviously you want to protect Patrick Mahomes. You've got Will Anderson, who I think he has double-digit sacks on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, one of their defensive linemen, talked a lot of stuff this week. Said that, he hopes Patrick is mobile and it's not a threat, but they're going to be coming out to miss a promise. And so, what do you expect this offense to look like against their defense?
Well, Christmas came early for the offensive line this week, and I mean that literally and physically because Patrick got them Rolexes, got the new all red Yeti cooler, $3,000 cowboy boots, Oakley. He got them the gambit of Christmas gifts.
Hey, look, man, Patrick needs to be taking care of the media. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying we carrying the man's water, but, we do make you look good. We do hold you accountable.
So I feel like they'll be fine. Their mood is good in the locker room. DJ Humphries, we haven't heard much about him this week.
Doesn't look. I don't know if he hadn't practiced all week, so I don't expect him to play today. It does look like Joe Thuney will be back at left tackle. According to Andy, it looks like we might see Wanye and Kingston in today's game.
Get them some reps. If I think if the Chiefs are doing well, they say they're up a few touchdowns. I said a few. You got to get him in and get him some reps.
He put him in with Carson Wentz, so he don't put him in with Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
So Carson's expendable. That's what you saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
No offense, Carson, but you ain't worth $500 million. Now, for Kansas City, though, defensively, got Chris Jones. Charles Omenihu has been a beast since he's
got a sack last week.
Back. Huh?
Got a sack last week.
He did get a sack last week. How do they fare against this Houston offense? Because mind you now, he will have Tank Dell, he will have Nico Collins, who has been balling since he's gotten back from injury. He will also have Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon, of course, the running back from Cincinnati that's been playing well for him. So he's got his whole arsenal of weapons. So give me your thoughts on that.
I really feel like when I talked to Chris after last week's game in Cleveland, he really had high praise for the young guys on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the secondary. The secondary has been the defensive backs. If you look at like the Chiefs' offensive injuries, the defense in the wide receiver group, and we can throw running backs in there as well, they've had just as many. I mean, with Jalen Watson going down, you've had some other guys that have. Well, I'll take that back. You have starting off with L'Jarius Sneed not being there, and then you get Jalen Watson going down, and then you bring in Najee Johnson, who really is a rookie because last year he had the ankle or leg injury.
Well, this technically this would be his second year. He was here 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and this is last year.
Yeah, but last year he wasn't able to do much. So you've been up and down. Now you threw Joshua Williams in there to replace Najee Johnson, take the back seat, and so now you've got the injury to Williams, and then Shamari Connor goes down last week. So you've been kind of battle tested, right? And I think that last week is what they really needed, as far as like they've had the kick in the butt, really.
Yeah,
Where
and I was going to ask you just to follow up. Are they able to parlay those turnovers and what they were to do? Because you're not playing Jameis Winston
yeah,
today, and while C.J. Stroud does have 9 interceptions, and Mixon has been, hasn't been essentially clean with
hmm
holding on to the football.
hmm
Can they duplicate or can they at least extend what they did last week against the Browns in today's game against the Texans?
I think so. I mean, you look at Trent's interception. They always say that interceptions come in spurts,
Mm.
right? So,
He might not get his next one for another 2.5 years though.
nah, man, I think he'll get another one
I hope so.
right when they need it.
Yeah.
And the confidence thing, football is just as much mental as it is physical.
Yeah.
So knowing that you've look at Jaden Hicks, he's got his second interception.
Yep.
And so I think now you're just like, all right, man, I actually can play this game. I'm good at what I do. Before you were kind of questioning, like, man, are our defense good? Because we've taken some lumps. We haven't gotten the biggest thing that they've talked about is create turnovers.
Yeah.
When they haven't gotten them these past few weeks, and just last week, what did they have, 6?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
So that confidence is a confidence builder. That's another thing that Chris Jones said is, man, is getting these young guys confidence. I know what I can do, but it's the other guys around me that can build that confidence. I.e., Charles Omenihu, who came back from an injury and now has a sack. He's like, all right, I'm back. I'm good.
And and to follow up on that, if you're Spags, because of how last week turned out, it gets them more motivated to where they feel like, damn, we actually can do this.
Yeah.
Because you go for such a long period of time without being able to create turnovers, and the game, and how these games have been, playing itself out, makes like it's much harder than what it should be. Now, now you can kind of.
Yeah.
Take what you did last week and at least mentally, as you talked about, take it into today's game.
Let me ask you, speaking of Spags, is he able to coach a little bit differently now? Because these guys have had the success just last week. Does that give you, or better yet, does that give you the confidence in your guys that they're able to go out there and do it? Just the younger guys who, had some of the issues earlier on.
I'd say yes for the younger guys to go out. I don't, because one thing about Spags, I think Spags might be kind of stuck in his way, kind of like a Jim Schwartz, to where, he'll leave his players on the island, versus playing zone or moving players around.
Make them come around at some point. They got to come around.
He might not. I mean, but we also say, could be saving some stuff for the postseason as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, depending on the matchup. Again, I've already gone on record earlier this week saying that I think Cincinnati finds a way to get into the playoffs as a number 7. They take on Buffalo, they knock off Buffalo, come to Kansas City. Kansas City beats them, and then they face Baltimore or Houston or Steelers in the AFC Championship game before going to the Super Bowl.
And it's crazy because Cincinnati they're kind of like the little brother in the league right now. I mean, you get guys talking about Buffalo, you get talking about Baltimore.
They actually have the worst chance, but also the best chance, because obviously with Denver losing, Denver has to travel to Cincinnati next week. So Cincinnati, of course, if they handle their business tomorrow against Cleveland, then take care of Denver when they come to town. They have to play, I think it's Baltimore. They have to play Baltimore or Pittsburgh for their last game. Then of course the Chiefs, depending on how things work out with them, take on Denver. Now, Kansas City could essentially try to I don't want to say throw the game, but throw the game by not having so many players play, which gives them a better chance, which would give Denver a better chance. Or they could just decide, nah, we don't like you, Sean Payton. We're gonna play to win the game.
And when I was talking about my little brother, as far as Houston, they win the AFC South, and it's like they still got a lot to prove. They want to prove that they can still come in here and beat this Chiefs team. They want to prove that C.J. Stroud is the next coming.
And look, I we love our guy Nick, right? But I think Nick has said something on the show that I kind of disagree when I'm thinking about it now, where he says that they're not really playing for much because of where they were. No,
Houston?
No, Houston. But my thing is, they still got a chance to move up, and between they're number 4, but they still have a chance to move up to number 2 or number 3. Obviously, Buffalo would have to have a collapse for that to happen, but they could. They could move up to number 3 because Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh has to play Baltimore. I mean, Pittsburgh can actually do these last 3 games and not just and they'll make the playoffs. I mean, they're in the playoffs, but they would go from perhaps clinching that division to, travel on the road for a wild card game. So it's important for them to win out. So yeah, I mean, again, the way this calendar, the way the schedule is working, the way these teams are playing.
Hmm.
I mean, you really. I tell people the reason why Patrick has played because it's really all hands on deck.
Right.
You don't. If you're Patrick Mahomes, you prove what you needed to prove last year and going on the road and going on the road to in the playoffs and get to Super Bowl and winning it. Now, it wasn't ideal for them last year, but wide receivers dropping passes left and right and losing games that you shouldn't have lost, put you in that
Came through when you
predicament.
needed them to.
Facts. But now this year, when people talking about, oh, you need to rest Mahomes, no, you want them to rest so you can feel good about yourself if Kansas City were to fall short because you picked some other teams to beat and then you'll question why they didn't just have Mahomes play.
Hmm.
I tell people, I mean, we talked about on the Red Hour that if you're the Chiefs, if you're Patrick Mahomes, you play. I mean, and Mahomes has already shown you. I mean, he's shown you even when he suffered a high ankle sprain against Jacksonville. Yes, the backup, Chad Henne went down there, led the team on a scoring drive. Patrick Mahomes came back out there. The man said as long as his leg ain't broken or he ain't tore something, he's coming back in the game. He's proven that to you time and time
And you
again.
bring up his injury. Do you feel like they would run the ball more?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying because the more pressure that you put on Patrick, with the pressure from this Houston
The
defense.
reason the reason why I say no is because one, it's just not in him, and then two, ego-wise, this is for Andy, Matt, and or Mahomes. They want to, they want to come out and prove that, you know, I got a high ankle sprain, or I said I can still be Patrick Mahomes. And so I just that's why I say no because it's just not in them.
Okay.
I mean, we look, man. It could be a blizzard down here, and they'll still figure out a way to have Patrick throw for 30 times in that ball game because they don't want to run the football when it's the smartest thing to do.
Okay. All right.
So, do want to ask you this: when we look at the coaching, we look at D'Amico Ryans. He's a defensive guy. Again, kind of took everybody by storm. He was, I think, second to Kevin Stefanski in the Coach of the Year awards last season. Looking at the job he's done, look like he'll win. They're going to be AFC South champs 2 years in a row behind him. What has he brought culture-wise? Because remember, they had to deal with the Deshaun Watson
Mm-hmm.
and Bill O'Brien and all that stuff, and just didn't know how didn't know how the organization was going to look. He comes in, turns everything around in year one.
Man, I think he's a player type coach. I mean, there's three talking just black coaches in this league who I'm thinking. Well, I say four. I would say Mike Tomlin.
Mhm.
I would say Antonio Pierce, D'Amico Ryans is doing, and another coach in Atlanta.
Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris. Those four right now, to me, the ones that stand out the most as far as like, all right, it's gonna be my way. I'm young enough to where I'm still gonna be cool with you guys, but we got to figure it out. We're gonna go together.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's one of those guys that is a player's coach. He's not, because what is he? Is he 40? He's not. He's about
Probably,
43, 44.
and he did play in the league too. He
Yeah.
played for a number of years.
So I think the guys are able to. He can back up for a second. He can relate better
Yes.
to these players than some of the other coaches. Some of the other coaches can.
Let's look at the X factor. If you're Kansas City on offense, we're gonna start with you today. X factor offensively for Kansas City to beat Houston.
I went with offensive line last week. I went with left tackle. I'm gonna say, man, I'm gonna say Travis Kelce. I think I've been waiting on.
Before you go further, I do want to ask you about that because there's been a lot of talk with him only having 2 touchdown passes, and there's been a lot of questions on whether he and Mahomes, because I think they've kind of said themselves not being on the same page. And there've been a lot of people question whether or not he even came into camp in the season in shape. Maybe some due to off-field stuff with his relationship. Do you feel like as you mentioned him being the X factor? Do you feel like it's time for him to turn it on. I mean, because look, we talked about the last few games, and there'll be times when he's wide open, pats over the ball, and just somehow he just drops it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see or do you feel a sense of a turnaround happening this week?
I think more often than not, you're going to have a successful pat to Travis. But it's just been, I think it's been more, the microscope has been more, it's been more magnified this year just because of, the offensive struggles.
Well, I kind of struggled last year, and then
but I
on
think,
top of what
I
took
think,
place.
Similar to some big names in the NBA, Michael Jordan, Kobe, those kind of guys. And I'm not saying Travis is that caliber, but he is on the football field. They could do it in their sleep, right? Like flu game. Jordan come in, hung over and still give you 60. Travis is that same. Travis is that same way, right? Like he could come in a little bit out of shape, a little bit overweight, but he's still going to be head and shoulders above any other linebacker or cornerback that tries to line up against him. So you remember this offensive line has been out, and I'll stand on it really that this offensive line is the cause for a lot of the passes to be overthrown, underthrown, not even to be thrown, and the struggles from Patrick to Travis. Now, does he need to turn it on? Yes. I think now is the time which is the reason why I'm going with him today. But I feel like he comes through when you need him. He really does. And Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, those guys, we talked about him extending his career. These are the guys that are going to be able to help him do that.
So for me, my X factor, I think I might have went with Andy and Matt last week. I'm at the running back, and I say that because of what we just talked about to start the show. You've got essentially outside of Rashid Rice, you got all these offense weapons for Mahomes. You have got to, as the coach coordinator, put these players in the right position to not only succeed, but also you got to put the players in the right position to protect Pat. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to, the line, the linemen, and whether that you need to give Tooney or whoever's on that left side some help. And if Tooney's able to do it on his own, and shout out to Joe Tooney because he had to go up against Myles Garrett last week, and Pat did not get sacked at all. Now, he got hit. Pat holds on to the ball a lot too much sometimes, but he did not get one sack in the game. So that's a big ups to Andy Heck and the offensive line. So I want to make sure that we point that out because all people think that we're coming out on without giving credit's due. Yeah. But I still say you got to protect Pat because of the lines he's going to be facing today and on Wednesday should they be successful. But then again, we look at Hollywood, Juju, DeAndre, Xavier, Travis, Noah. I could keep going down on and on. Yeah. But all those, and then of course Pacheco and along with Kareem. So you've got literally an offense that's on G.E.H. steroids that could potentially be there. So put them in position to, and also don't be afraid to attack defense, which we know Patrick's going to do now that you got Hollywood out there. So you have, I don't know how this starting lineup is going to look. I don't know what type of sets they're going to have. I'd love to see a set where you got Xavier, you've got D-Hop, you've got Hollywood out there. Travis out there. Got you 4 receivers and, maybe, I guess, maybe 5 and then Pacheco in the backfield. I'm saying so. I want to see the creativity in the play calling in today's game to get these players open, and then it's still going to be now they have to do their part. Patrick has to do his part, making sure that he's accurate. He has said, which is kind of funny if you think about it. It's kind of like when you have an injury and you have to overcompensate somewhere else. So his high ankle sprain, perhaps that'll make him be a little bit more focused on his passes and his targets and be successful in that.
Yeah, one thing, since we're still on offense, one thing I did not say about Travis is you don't see him, because a lot of times you get reports coming out of different organizations like let's go to Philly. You think about Jalen Hurts and what's the receiver, A.J. Things aren't going his way. and all of a sudden you're hearing reports like, oh, well, these two guys aren't getting along, and the offense isn't, they're not clicking up there. Is it the coach? Is it the quarterback? Is it the wide receiver? So you never heard that. You don't even see it because I'm a guy that looks at body language, and you don't see that from Travis Kelce. Travis is always the first one. Anytime anybody scores, he's always running out there. He's always, dapping the guy up, doing the dance or whatever it is that they're doing. And I think as long as, like I said early on in the season, as long as they are winning, he's content. Like, he's content with that. He's had his success, and he knows that when it's like, hey, y'all know I'm here whenever y'all need me, I'm here.
And he has always said, man, we've been talking about this since, I guess it's the first time they won the Super Bowl. But if as long as they get the Super Bowl and win it, it's a successful year. That's all. You get to a point in which is where he's at now. All he wants to do is win. How it looks. Again, he sacrificed that 1,000-yard season last year, sitting at the last game. So it's not really much about stats about us and everybody else who does the stuff. But all he wants to do is win.
He going to the Hall of Fame number. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he goes to the Hall of Fame. But the question is, with how many rings? Yeah. And that's where he's at right now.
Let me real quick while we on that. Deion said there's 2 rooms in the Hall of Fame. What room is Trav in?
Trav's in the upper room.
Okay, all right. He in the upper room.
Well, I mean, he got them clinks. He got the things that say he can throw out on the table. Mm-hmm. Others can't say that. Love Antonio Gates. Shout out to Sean Merriman, but he when he gets in, he's on the lower level. It's people like Trav and Gronk that can shine down on.
He definitely he don't even he already got a key. They left a key there for him. We don't put the key under the mat. Trav already got that.
Yeah, I think his girl, probably paid to get it ready.
Nah.
So, but let me ask you this now: X factor defensively for the Chiefs.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Chris Jones because we talk about. And they only got 3 games left. He has 5 sacks. He said he's gonna get his numbers. His number for him to get that extra money is 5. He's got to get 5 more in 3 games.
That was max factor.
Can he run off 3 and then 2, or how is he gonna do it?
The reason why he was gonna be a max factor today because their interior offensive line is horrible. Mm-hmm. This is the game for him to get 2 or 3 sacks. If there ever was a game.
What if he runs him off today?
If Chris gets 5 today, I'm putting a mixed plate underneath his, in his locker. Come Tuesday, I'm gonna run the gates and put it like here, man. This congratulations, you got 5 sacks. Mm-hmm. It ain't 7 like Derek Thomas, but you came close enough.
But he hit his number. That's all he needed to do.
All right, so we both got Chris Jones.
No. I got Chris Jones. You don't. Don't piggyback off what I'm doing.
I said I'm
trying to be slick. No.
All right, okay. Well, fine. You know what? Nah, I got you. Mm-hmm. Trent McDuffie.
Okay.
Let's see whether or not he can follow up because one thing. CJ he's going to throw the football again. Mm-hmm. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and so their number 1 receiver is Nico Collins. Let's see what Trent does matched up against him today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. Prediction for today's game.
Man, I haven't done a score prediction since early on in the season, man. I got Chiefs.
You don't end up losing, do you?
No. I got Chiefs 31, Houston 17.
Got the Chiefs covering again.
31-17. Because you remember, the Chiefs, the Houston was favored by 2 early on.
Favored by 2.5. Yeah. But that was when Patrick and that injury.
It's weird how things just flip. They saw him practice and it just turned. I'm like, okay.
Full practice. Hold on.
So if you were able to get Chiefs at plus money, you're welcome.
Yeah, well, I always take Chiefs plus money regardless.
Yeah.
Trust me. I've got Kansas City winning. I got a little bit closer. I forgot what we said on the radar, but I'm gonna go with Chiefs 31, 24. I think they win by 7. I think they cover, but I think that they have a 14-point lead late in the fourth quarter, and Patrick sitting, you get a chance to get Carson in, you get a chance to get Wanye and Kingston in, and and perhaps they get perhaps the other team gets a touchdown late in the ball game to make it a little bit closer. So.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
All right, so we both got the Chiefs winning. Let us know in the comments, whatever, what you think the score is going to be. But Steve, before we get out of here, you want to take your sponsors?
Yes, thank dealers at Zona Rosa. Make sure you go out there. Holidays are still here. They got, some great deals for you. 40, 50% off, men's and women's clothing. Get some, you need stuff for your bedroom. Go get some, Ugg blankets, shoes. You need anything that you need that you feel like you want to get for the holidays. Go out there and talk to my guy Jeff. You can talk to Salvatore, and then my good friends over at Dealers on the Rosa.
All right, and as always, shout out to Todd White and Todd's Closers and Taylor Suits, located at two locations, one in Ward Parkway, the other out at the Legends Mall in KCK over by uh, the soccer stadium and the casinos and stuff like that. So you win some money, you get the chance to go over, buy you some more suits. But I want to thank him as always, and of course, I want to thank Gates Barbecue, located at 5 locations in the Metro Kansas City area. Look, this holiday season. Not only, have they adjusted some of the prices on the food, but you can actually purchase a $25 gift card for family members for only $20. So that's a good little stocking stuffer to put in there for someone. So again, you get at any of the 5 locations. Go there, try the Bernie Mac, which is pretty good. Post game today, I'm supposed to be dragging Trey Smith over to Gates Barbecue for, I think, for something he lost, I guess, whatever. Then, of course, we might try to go watch the Tennessee-Ohio State game tonight over there. So do that. But make sure you join us post-game. Steve Walls, myself, will bring you Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and other players at the podium today. Follow Steve Walls at Steve Walls KC. Follow me at Darren Smith NFL. Finally, Monday night, join us for the Red Hour. Of course, myself, Steve Walls, DJ Q, and Sean Tyler. As we recap this game and, of course, get you ready for Wednesday's Christmas game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, along with the other game that's going to be taking place that day. And then, so all that Monday night. And again, join us. Want to thank you so very much for tuning in today, again, for the home regular season finale of the pregame cheat sheet. We will be back here at Arrowhead the weekend of January 18th, 19th for the AFC divisional matchup that will feature the Kansas City Chiefs. So with that, thank you so very much. Have a blessed day.